Hello, Professor. So the first video that I decided to basically analyze and go over is the Andrew Tate video. And so after watching the video and analyzing and everything, it definitely has characteristics. He definitely has his purpose that he's trying to push, through, which is basically that if a man is responsible for a woman, then a man has an authority over a woman. And so that's basically his message and the purpose that he's trying to portray and to get out into the world. The audience that he's trying to basically get to is, I believe more traditional, men that still think that, the woman stays home, cooks, cleans, and kind of just all that stuff. Everybody has different views and everybody has their own way of living. But I just believe that's his target audience. And aside from trying to get his message to them, I feel that his audience is also just the general public to get a reaction. I feel that he's trying to get his message across to those traditional, more, I guess you could say, conservative people, but then also trying to get a reaction from the general population as well. So I guess I guess you could say that's how I view who his audience or target audience is trying to be. As far as his persona go, he just really tries to come off as this alpha male guy that talks just very stern and very straightforward. Doesn't hesitate or doesn't stutter with anything he says, and that's just kind of his persona. He wants to give off that tough guy, alpha male vibe. And so then once we get to his tone, as I just talked about that, he just really wants to have that stern tone where, he's direct and says what he wants to say, doesn't want anybody to interrupt him, things of that sort. I wouldn't really say like angry or frustrated, but definitely with some anger or like just a stern voice, I guess, a hard, stern voice is basically like the tone he wants to come off of. The evidence that he gives for his reasoning is very minimal. He basically is just saying that if you're responsible for something in life, then you, in return, obviously have some sort of authority over it. So he gave the example that if you have a dog and you're responsible for your dog, then you have to have some authority over your dog. And so that's basically just like his evidence that he gave for his reasoning. He structured this in a way where he presented his argument, then from there tried to defend his perspective, then gave evidence to support his perspective, and then tried to defend his perspective again. So his structure was just basically saying what he thought, giving evidence, and then backing up his evidence with his own personal beliefs. And so, he did use all these different strategies in this clip to try to get to an audience, and that's how I feel that he did it, in all those different categories. Hello again, Professor. So for my second video, I decided to do the Dave Chappelle, the stand-up one. And so from this one, I was kind of shocked. Well, not shocked, just a little surprised when I watched this video, just because I know Dave Chappelle can sometimes be like controversial with some of the things he says and stuff. But this was actually a great video. His purpose was to pretty much just tell a story, tell a story about a young kid that, one time got kidnapped by white men in Mississippi and was beaten to death. And, basically he wanted to bring awareness back to that story of where all of this started, and basically just kind of started at the beginning and told the story all the way through, and kind of just wanted to give the message that, we're here today, and that, we live in a different world, thanks to all of the things and the civil rights movements that they did. And so, yeah, so I thought it was a really cool video from Dave Chappelle. And as far as the audience, I believe his audience is just basically his immediate audience that's right in front of him. I feel like, he's during the stand-up act, he's just basically trying to connect with them and, tell them a story. As far as the persona, like I said, sometimes he can be controversial or act weird or funny, but his persona when he was telling this story was very sincere, very serious, and was just, more of a storyteller rather than a stand-up comedian, right? He basically, really touched base on this story that I personally have never heard before, and made me feel like I was there. He painted a very vivid picture in my mind. And I know we were somebody gave a presentation about that last week about basically illustrating a mind through writing or through talking and stuff. And so he really did do that. And I guess that goes with the tone as well. The tone was just very sincere and kind, and just really made you, instead of laughing at what he was saying, it made you think about the situation, and made you really kind of put you back in that place, and made you kind of just think about that the little kid that got taken away. And the evidence that he gave was, he basically was saying how every newspaper from everywhere was basically talking about the story at the time. The pictures of the kid were plastered all over the covers of every magazine. And his evidence for that was basically demonstrating how the mother of the kid showing everybody in the United States how bad his kid was beaten. It basically showed everybody that we need to do something different, that something needs to change. And so that's the evidence he gave to us, was basically telling us about all those news articles that covered the story. The structure of the story was very, very organized. It started at the beginning, went all the way through the middle, and all the way clear to the end. It was a very storytelling manner of how he went about it. Like I said, I'm used to watching like stand-up comedian Dave Chappelle, so this was very different to watch him in a more of a storyteller kind of feel, and for him to just kind of just be sincere for a minute, and to kind of dig deep at the roots of what America is and how far we've came from the civil rights movement to today. And yeah, I mean, he used all of these strategies very effectively. Like I said, I like that he was storytelling rather than just making a joke, or rather than just saying it, like whatever. You could tell this was a story that he has very close to his heart, and that he cares a lot about. And so yeah, that's what I had to say on Dave Chappelle. Thank you very much.